Welcome to Source Not Found, a show about the worst versions of your favorite things. Every other week, we explore an IP, franchise, or fandom by way of its sequels, spin-offs, and side projects. Basically anything but the source material. I'm Brandon June, the power guy, and you probably don't know this, but this podcast is knocking out power over the whole Tri-Quad area.
And I'm Bo Woodall, and I'm a machine designed by the devil and powered by the damned. This happy spooky season, everybody. This month,
We're here.
we did it. This month we're doing Ghosts, and we're starting off in a very, very interesting place. Both in the 60s and in the aughts. We are doing the film 13 Ghosts, 2001. The remake of the Castle film from, 62?
1960 for the original.
Was it 60?
Which I just watched for the first time.
Oh, did you? I look forward to hearing some of that.
All right.
So the reason we chose this one is, as based on our title and our lead-in, we like sequels and remakes and spin-offs and shit. And I remembered seeing this film as a relative youngster, I think 2001. Yeah, so I was 15, 16 years old.
Was this before or after being traumatized by The Ring?
I probably went to this for solace. I probably saw The Ring and was like, oh, good, I didn't sleep. Let's watch this.
I'm just imagining, like, when you got home after The Ring, you know, you were traumatized because your TV turned on by itself in the middle of the night. What would be the equivalent for this one? The windows start opening and closing of their own accord? Or I guess if you have any sliding doors would be spooky.
The TV turning on to this movie again?
Having to think about it for any longer.
I don't actually feel that negatively about this film. I don't feel a lot of things about this film except for a couple of things. But before we talk about what we liked and what we didn't like, let's do I kind of want to give like the full synopsis, which is probably
there's not much to do. You might as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think to myself, like, a full plot summary is probably 4 sentences long.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna see how you feel about this. All right. Arthur and his 2 children, Kathy and Bobby, inherit his uncle Cyrus's estate, a glass house that serves as a prison for 12 ghosts, not 13 kids, 12. When the family, accompanied by Bobby's nanny and an attorney, enter the house, they find themselves trapped inside an evil machine designed by the devil and powered by the damned to open the eye of hell. Aided by Dennis, a ghost hunter, and his rival Kalina, a ghost rights activist out to set the ghosts free, the group must do what they can to get out of the house alive.
I gotta say, hearing all that and then thinking about like this movie on a conceptual level, it could have been amazing.
Yeah.
There's a lot there to have a lot of fun with.
And what's funny is there are some genuinely good performances. Like,
yeah.
Especially for the time. Like, Tony Shalhoub, man. Like,
I will say the delivery of his line, like, at the beginning, when it's just like a brief scene of like the family dynamic at home.
Yeah.
And he's getting ready for work and he's kind of like flustered and sort of like
he trips over the scooter.
Half listening. Yeah, and half listening to his son, who seems to be obsessed with just like gore and mayhem and murder and stuff. And he's like, Dad, they found some headless guy behind Dunkin' Donuts. It's like, oh, I love Dunkin' Donuts. It kind of like ruffles his
Yeah.
He's good. But the problem is like none of them, like there's no script for them to really work off of. So it's just like Matthew Lillard just doing that open, like wide open mouth grimace a lot and like screaming like, move, run. What are you doing? Shut the hell up. Go.
So here's the thing. You can put Matthew Lillard in anything and I will watch it happily. Like, he is one of my favorite just like physical presences on film. I don't know why, but like it's
that hacker's goodwill.
It's partly hacker's goodwill, it's partly Scooby-Doo goodwill.
I think for me, I saw him in SLC Punk at a young age, and I was a big fan of that movie at the time. Yeah.
And I mean, he fell into this like, plus he plays D&D and like as like a human adult man, he is still like super into fans and reaching out and being parts of things. And it's just like every time you see something like that, you're like, oh, I should revisit a film he was in. I didn't see Five Nights with Freddy because he was supposedly in that, but I probably won't ever see. Well, we may watch that one day, which hopefully
it is something we could. It would be interesting because it is pretty popular.
Yeah,
like among my students,
Yeah, and the movie did well, I think.
Yeah, and I have like no framework. Like I have no knowledge of this series. It's pretty big.
I think it's based around like a Chuck E. Cheese, right?
That's what I always assumed. It's some kind of horror game, and I think you're doing like surveillance cameras, and there's like animatronics brought to life. That's what I've gathered. I don't know if that's the case.
Yeah, I have no idea, but I know Matthew Lillard was in that, so maybe I'll have to check that out at some point. But
oh boy, here we go.
Yeah.
Plans for the future to be excited about.
Yeah, next year for October we'll do robots. But yeah, I mean, there are a few things to like about this film, and when I say a few, I mean a very few.
Yeah, the
aesthetic is fun. Like the weird steampunk kind of labyrinthine, like it's shot kind like the art design is fun. It's very, very fun. Just like you said, the script is just a ghost of a script. Like there's not much there.
Yeah, you have a great setting. You really do. Like you just described, the steampunk sort of like gear controlled, gear powered, like these giant rotating mechanisms, like, powered by hellish spirits, all of these sliding glass doors and windows and like closing and opening and like this like clockwork structure.
Yeah.
And the character's like trapped within this maze and moving around it, and it's releasing ghosts one by one. Like that's a cool concept.
A really cool idea.
And then you throw in like just the phrase ghost rights activist. Like we could have had a lot of fun with that idea. We don't, but the potential's there to get kind of goofy with that. Like that's something that's not really been explored, like a sort of Greenpeace.
This isn't part of a trivia corner or anything. This is not part of the trivia corner, but I have to ask, did you recognize her?
I know her as, is it Miss Honey from Matilda?
Yeah. You know what else she was in?
Sorry, I just only have eyes for Miss Honey.
It's one of your favorite movies / franchises.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's from Army of Darkness, man.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I saw her with her giant nose stud, and I was like, "Is that who I think it is?" I'll be damned. And Kaylin's like, "Yeah, it's Miss Honey," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I mean, like, also that."
Oh man, I had a chance to make a Evil Dead connection, and I went with Matilda. Well, the thing is, equally, like as a child, Roald Dahl is as important to my
Sam Raimi
and my personality. Yeah. Kind of, yeah, actually. Formative experience reading all those books as a child.
Yeah. I saw that and was very, I mean, that's the weird thing about this movie, man. Like the cast is stacked. Like it, other than the nanny and the boy child, the cast is pretty stacked. You got F. Murray Abraham, Tony Shalhoub, Matthew Lillard, Shannon Elizabeth, and Miss Honey.
Mm-hmm. It is a real snapshot of 2001.
Yeah, exactly. This is... You could walk into a Hot Topic and see each of these people on some sort of merchandise. It just... I can't believe it didn't do all the things it could have set out to do. Because the other thing that I like, I'm not sure if you agree with me on this, I really like the design of all the ghosts. Like,
We do differ on that.
It's very, very aughts. It's very late 90s, early aughts, and they do some... Jackal is rough. Jackal's a rough look. Jackal's a rough thing to look at. But, I don't know, like, it just seemed like you are... Did you ever watch the movie, the TV show Face Off? Not the movie with Travolta and Cage, but the TV show.
I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It made me nostalgic for Face Off. Like, you had all of these differing takes on like what a ghost should look like. It kind of looked like you grabbed 4 or 5 different costume designers or makeup artists and said, make me a ghost based on a tragic death of some sort. And they just spit one out. And I kind of have fun with that.
I think I like the fundamental design for some of them. I don't really like how they look in practice, a lot of them.
Okay.
You know, I'm not really crazy about some of the makeup effects that kind of look.
I will say oh my God, what's her name? The supermodel that was obviously killed herself, assumedly. That looked rough. That was rough from top to bottom. That was a rough design. It was like, let's make a nude woman, but also a mannequin. Like, I understand what they were kind of going for, I think. Like, she had so much plastic surgery and all this stuff. But, like, I didn't care for that design so much. Because some of the other ghosts showed emotion. Like, the baseball player kid. I think it was the Torn Prince.
Yeah.
And what, the hammer? The big guy with all the stakes in him? Like,
yeah.
You could see where, like, effort was put into those designs. And I don't know. I thought that first one should have had the design. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of doing like the Beetlejuice thing.
Yeah.
Almost. When you go down and see everyone just like, however they looked at the moment of their demise.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's why this movie got me a little bit as a kid. Like, my love of Beetlejuice.
It seemed like that Beetlejuice idea, but just, you already said it, just so aughts. There's just something about the visuals of that period where I've mentioned this before on our Ring episode for anyone that's on the Patreon. I got to listen to that. I have like a similar feeling towards this movie. I like the set design. I don't really like a lot of the look of it. I hate a lot of the visual effects, like the hyper editing, just like constant quick jump cuts and like flashes of ghosts. Like, you don't really get a good look at a lot of them, which you probably don't want to look at your ghost for too long. That would take away some of the horror of it, right?
Right.
Usually you don't want to see the monster for too long. Sometimes maybe even at all in a horror film. But the more I saw, the more just like, yeah, I'm not crazy about how these look. It would be like very good, I don't know, like cosplay or like Halloween costume design.
Yeah.
But as a movie, nah, it didn't really work for me.
I think it was the fact that, and again, I saw this when I was 16. So I was probably neck deep in my love of older B-movie horror films that used just practical effects.
Yeah.
And in this case, I
appreciate that aspect of it.
That's what a lot of it was, is, mostly, practical effects and how that works. And I just realized something, and I feel like an idiot. I didn't tell you anything about this budget.
Yeah, I gotta know. What did it cost to put those great practical effects on the screen and make that elaborate, hellish house?
$42 million.
All right.
Which, this was released October 26, 2001, right? So $46 million is a moderate budget, I think. I think a blockbuster would be, up like at least $100 million. US, it made its money back. It made $42 million, almost exactly. Globally, it made 69. Nice. It was number 2 the weekend it came out, and that's really all I got.
What was number 1? Do you know?
K-Pax, starring Kevin Spacey.
I think I'm going to K-Pax. Yeah.
We also had From Hell at the third spot, which that's the Johnny Depp, Jack the Ripper film, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Riding in Cars with Boys, and Denzel Washington in Training Day at 5.
Oh, okay. I'm going to Training Day.
Yeah, I would definitely probably go to Training Day as well. So, sorry, listeners, I completely got into ghost talk. But yeah, I don't know. Using all of the practical effects, having Matthew Lillard there, and getting to see probably the most gruesome on-film deaths I had seen so far as a young adult.
That is a good point. similarly, I just brought it up a few minutes ago. The Ring. Similar experience where I saw it when it came out, had not seen it since. Same goes for this movie. And going in like, well, I need to rewatch it. We're about to discuss it. And I probably don't really remember it that well. But I remember, I remember the lawyer getting sliced in half by the doors. That sticks with me. And I remember some of the ghost design. And I remember like the sets and, the transforming house, and they're kind of getting trapped and getting corralled into different hallways and all that. And they break the machine and all that, and they escape. But yeah, I guess I've forgotten a lot. And then to watch the movie, like, no, I was good. Could have come in here probably.
I remembered all of it, basically.
Kind of. There's not really much else. Like, aside from like you went through the synopsis and like, yeah, other than a brief few moments, it is a lot of just like they're just scrambling around the house.
Yeah.
Yelling, go, 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 get down, move, watch out. Here's the ghost. And then they just, the ghosts are smashing around. There's really not like the characters don't have much in the way of dialogue with one another other than just like yelling at one another. You don't really learn much about the world. There's not like, I know there was a lore made for the movie and about the ghosts, but you don't really get that in the movie.
Yeah, nothing.
There's just not much there.
I wanted to point out, I think I've been trying to talk about things that I like. And that's about it. Like the cast, the practical effects, the setting, the possibilities. Like you with certain video games, there could have been ambition here. Like the ghost rights activist versus the psychic who hates what he is, basically. Like, that can be very fun. I mean, not fun. It could probably end up being tragic. But, and then obviously the deaths. The lawyer getting cut in half. And dude, I forgot Kalina's death. Spoilers. Getting crushed between the two, like, glass panels and like.
I forgot about that too.
Even Kaylin was like, oh, they did that. Yeah, that one hit pretty hard.
I kind of forgot about her whole character and the twist of her turning out to also like why was she helping Cyrus?
Oh, she wanted to bone down. Yeah.
Was it just that?
I think it was either she wanted to bone down or I honestly don't know. This is me completely guessing. There's no trivia about her storyline at all. Either she wanted to bone down, which is my initial guess. She wanted some of Cyrus's money, or maybe she thought opening the Eye of Hell would give her the power to free ghosts.
Okay.
Like, I think she got caught up in Cyrus's, like, ascent or descent, depending on how you want to look at it. Which, by the way, okay, moving on to some real questions here.
Yeah.
Was he dead?
Cyrus?
Like, what happened with Cyrus? Like, why is his throat cut, and why was he in a cell?
I was also confused by that. But I didn't care enough to really spend a lot of time thinking about it until now that you presented me with the...
Like, did he genuinely put fucking, like... Did he go to Spirit Halloween and get makeup to make himself look dead for the climax of this fucking movie? Because the ghosts, like, throw him into the machine and rip him apart physically. Like, there's not much left. You see the head fly at you 3D style.
Yeah, you do.
But you see him in a ghost cage. You see his ghost cage open. And you see him with a cut throat. What the fuck, man?
I got nothing.
Yeah, I know. It's a fucking weird choice. It's a really weird choice.
That's why I was asking about their relationship, because in the initial scene when they're like hunting the ghost in the junkyard or whatever, and you see the ghost rights activists come in, they're at odds with one another. Like,
she has a partner who dies.
Yeah, and then in the interim, she's just like, no, actually, I'm gonna change sides. I don't know.
And
when did that happen and why?
And we don't get an idea of how much time passes between when the Juggernaut is, I think that's his name.
Yeah, right.
Juggernaut is captured, and when Cyrus invites Arthur and his family to the home through his will. Because they also have to
Yeah.
capture, spoilers again, Arthur's dead wife as a spirit.
Yep.
Which that hit a little bit. When the boy says mom, and she's trying to help him get out, like it doesn't hit emotionally, but it hits on a story level. Like, this is an interesting choice. This megalomaniacal uncle literally killing his nephew's wife.
It's pretty fucked.
And then stealing her soul, effectively, to help power this machine so that he can then kill his nephew for the machine to actually function.
And I was wondering about the mother as just an anomaly within. Like, all of the other ghosts are actively, like, violent and angry.
Right.
And attack the living. But then we have just, like, one in the mix. Like, she's just the kindly mom that is here.
That's Kaylin brought that up as well. I also brought that up because she is mentioned in the Black Zodiac, the list of all of these ghosts, as the withered lover, I think.
Yeah.
I'm curious if Cyrus would have chosen another one, he would have gotten away with it. If he would have chosen another ghost, I think there's a chance he could have gotten away with it.
I was curious, like, if another family came into this house, wasn't the husband and her own kids, would she just be stomping around with the rest of them, just ripping people to shreds?
I'm kind of curious about that too.
Right? Like, was she just, like, tamping that down? Like, oh, my kids are here. I better, like...
I got to behave myself. Yeah.
I don't want them to be left with that memory.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird choice. It's a weird question. But there's also the idea that she's only been captured for like 6 months. She's only been dead for 6 months.
Right.
Where everybody else has been captured for a while, assumedly. No, because Juggernaut was the 12th ghost.
The last one, right?
So they had to have captured Kalina lost her partner after Arthur's wife died 6 months before this movie takes place.
She just must have really liked what she saw in that junkyard. And I mean, him, like, seeing him, like, speared on the bumper of the car or whatever it was. I'm trying to remember. He was, like, pierced by some kind of shrapnel or something, right?
Yeah, he was messed up pretty good.
She's like, well, you know what? I know we had our differences as humans, but now that you're a ghost, you know, I'm kind of into that. Being a ghost rights activist.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought you meant, like, seeing Cyrus all powerful and, like, summoning spells and capturing ghosts and shit. And she's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get on his team.
Just even by virtue of him just like, you know, I'm not into humans, but I'm into ghosts.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's weird. The whole thing is weird.
It's a weird movie. Like, it's a weird concept. That's what I mean. But I like the weird concept of, like, just this insane fun house of sliding doors and contraptions, like the steampunk clockwork kind of thing, and people trapped within it, and then that haunted. Like, that's cool. It's ridiculous. Lean into it, and they do, because it's like, it doesn't take itself seriously as a movie, but it just also doesn't really do anything once it assembles this cast and brings them into the setting, you know?
Not to mention, it wastes so much valuable screen time.
Yeah.
There are like 10 to 15 second segments where it just camera pans through the labyrinth with no character on screen. The camera will just go through a hallway with nothing and then, like, end the shot at a stairwell. And then you flash back and Arthur's like, I've got to find my kids. And it's like, well, fuck, man. Why didn't that entire camera pan thing just, like, maybe show us Bobby running by someplace, like, getting chased by the little boy with an arrow through his head? Give me fucking anything, man.
They just really wanted to show off that set. But it is kind of amazing. Like, it's a glass house, and they lose one another, like, within 5 seconds of just, like, they turn around and just like, where's my kid? Where'd you go? Where, Bobby? It's like, dude, everything is transparent. How did you just lose him again?
I asked myself out loud, what is the square footage of this fucking house? How big is this home? Like, we know it's a mansion.
Shot. It's not that big.
It doesn't seem that big. I mean,
right?
HOAs would hate this house. But
oh my God, can you imagine the complaints from the neighbors?
Yeah. I'm curious at how big the house actually is. And
is it like House of Leaves? It's bigger on the inside, actually.
Maybe.
Than the outside.
Because it also has to go pretty far underground because you got that whole engine powering the home. And that's underneath it. So you've got like a basement and a sub-basement probably. At least one. Man, it's a big house. But yes, they very much loved the setting. So they're just like, hey, let's do a 30-second camera pan through these glass hallways and show no human beings or ghosts or anything of interest other than just the house that is not moving or resetting itself yet. That sounds like a good use of camera right now.
I think this is one of those, like, you know what? This would probably be a better video game than a movie. It'd be an awesome environment, and like to have to stealth your way past ghosts, and like the setting is changing around you, and it's on like a time structure, and you have to kind of intuit when things are going to happen and learn the timing of like doors unlocking. And
yeah,
there's something there.
Especially if it was like some ghosts are out, like once all of the ghosts are out, they have to go back in for certain hours at a time during the evening or during the day.
Yeah.
You only
it's like
get
Shenmue. All the ghosts live their lives in real time, and you get to follow them around and watch them go shopping.
Mix Shenmue with Resident Evil, so you have all the puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it could be a really good time. But
it could. I don't hate this movie just because of I can't help seeing what it could be, like some of the potential there. I don't like it. I kind of. Once again, I reference this all the time. The infamous Blood Rain review. It left me with no thoughts or feelings. It really did. I just didn't really feel much by the end of it. I'm just kind of like watching characters scramble around this setting. But like thinking back and like some of the scenes that stuck with me from when I saw it when I was much younger, when it came out. And some of the ideas in here, like, yeah, it's got potential. There is ambition there.
Yeah. It's getting a perfect score on your SAT, and then, you know, nothing. That's what a teacher would tell you. They'd be like, oh, he's full of potential, but, you know, he reads too much in class. That's what I was told. Or something, you know, like it's one of those things. I don't know, man.
He's doing stellar work out on the playground. When he gets in that sandbox, the structures he makes, but he hasn't been doing his reading, so he has no story to tell in this setting.
I walked away from it still absolutely adoring Matthew Lillard because he chews every piece of scenery in this movie. And I love it every second, despite the fact that it's not what you would call an Oscar-winning performance.
No, actually, watching him, I couldn't help thinking, well, if they ever made an angry video game nerd movie,
he would be so good.
They've already got the guy, like he does his own videos, but he does the exact same sort of like scowl, like grimace face that like the angry video game nerd does. I noticed a lot in this movie.
Yeah.
Just kind of like horrified by whatever he's witnessing. And with the glasses, like, yeah, I see it. I do.
Speaking of the glasses.
Yeah.
I kind of want to hear about the 1960.
Yeah, because those do come into play on that one. Well, not the way I watched it.
But I think the viewers have to wear the glasses to see that one, right?
Yeah. So the original one from 1960, like we mentioned, it's a William Castle production, which made a lot of horror movies in that time. It is a 1960-ass movie. Like, just from they got like the, oh, gee whiz, kind of like child character.
Golly, gee willikers.
Yeah, it is extremely boring and lame. But I've always been curious about the movie because when I was in 5th grade, I remember my teacher describing how he snuck into that movie when he was too young to see it. And he described this scene of being absolutely horrified as a character is suffocated in a bed. And I just wondered about it all these years, but I'd never seen it.
Okay.
And now that I finally watched it, like, yeah, maybe that hit in 1960, but it does not.
Dude, that's super tame now. Come on.
It was just nothing in the... Okay. So basically, we have a lot of similarities. Like, you can see what they pulled for this remake. You have, like, an eccentric uncle character that's been researching the paranormal that has a pair of... And it's cool how they tie it to the gimmick. So there's a gimmick around the movie. There's a pair of glasses in the movie that allow you to see and kind of, like, convene with the dead.
Okay.
And the way that the movie was originally marketed was with Illusion O. Again, just 1960s as hell.
Yeah. Spectrovision.
Yeah. So most of the scenes were in black and white, but scenes involving ghosts were shown in a process dubbed Illusion O. The filmed elements of the actors and the sets, everything except the ghosts, had a blue filter applied to the footage, while the ghost elements had a red filter and were superimposed over the frame. Audience received viewing glasses with red and blue cellophane filters. Unlike with early 3D glasses having one eye red and the other cyan or blue, the Illusion O device required viewers to look through a single color with both eyes. Looking through the red filter intensified the images of the ghosts, while the blue filter removed them. So I do like that idea.
Huh.
Like, you get to engage with the ghosts or not, you know? You get to sort of engage with this, like, within the world of the movie device that allows them to see ghosts and choose, like, as an audience member, as a viewer of the movie, like, oh, I can see the ghost, and if I take off the glasses, I can't. It's cool.
I wonder
There's just
how,
not really... Yeah.
I wonder how that would feel if they did this 2001 version. And
I wondered about that.
like,
Yeah.
you watch, like, there's two versions of the movie. One is no ghosts and one is with ghosts. And you just watch a version of the film with no ghosts, and you just see, like, sparks fly, or, you know, old boy being super scared, backing up and then getting cut in half by a pane of glass, or
Yeah.
like,
I love that idea.
that'd be really, really interesting. I think the ghostless movie would be boring as hell.
But being able to choose at any time, because, like, the thing is, I don't like how they attempt to show it in this movie, where it's just, I mentioned before, just like the seizure-inducing flashes and random cuts of, like, ghost faces,
Yeah,
again and
yeah,
again
yeah.
and again and again and again. You know, to kind of get the idea, like, oh, they're getting glimpses, or they're experiencing this connection with the undead, this moment, they're being attacked, but they can't really see it if they don't have the glasses on, and that's how they get around that. But, like, man, to just, like, opt in or out at any time, that's cool. That'd be interesting.
I just,
But
thinking about it like that, like, I just to step back in the 2001 one for a second, I just realized something.
Yeah.
Supernatural did it better.
yeah.
The TV show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the idea of ghosts appearing, disappearing, reappearing, and actually being able to cause you physical harm.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it done before, and I think Supernatural came out around, like, 2002, 2003, and I genuinely think the pilot episode is about a ghost, and you watch this ghost, just a humanoid woman in a white dress, straight up reach into people's chests and then vanish, or something like that. And, like, it increased not only the intrigue but also a little bit of the suspense and thrill, and that could have been done so much better. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, the movie has a lot of potential. The thing is, like, thinking about the 1960 movie. So aside from the gimmick of the movie, you do have, like, the uncle passing on. He's been researching the paranormal. His house is haunted as shit. The house passes to his nephew, and who is also experiencing financial difficulties.
Sure.
So he and his wife and his child move in to the house. And then
Oh, he has a
do
wife.
the hauntings. Yeah, she's alive. That's, I think, about where the similarities end. You do have a lawyer character who actually ends up being, spoilers, the antagonist of the movie, who's engineering a lot of stuff and doing some fake spooks of his own to try and get the money that the uncle stashed away under the stairs, and tries to kill the kid once he's found it, and then
Jesus.
gets spooked by the uncle into this bed with this, like, contraption, like it basically lowers the canopy of the bed down and smothers the person in the bed. So that's what my 5th grade teacher was describing to me many years ago, that I've been thinking about ever since. Not a good movie, not scary. Maybe it was, Jesus, 60 something years ago, but a lot of like the ghost behavior is just like watching a candle slowly, just like a candle on the end of a string kind of being moved across the screen and like resting into a candelabra, or just like, like poltergeist behavior, but just like 1960 effects.
Sure.
There are some cool effects with like the ghost superimposed over the frame, and it probably would have been pretty awesome to see that in the theater all those years ago and be looking through the glasses and then see that effect. But aside from the gimmick, like there's really nothing to recommend or like nothing interesting about the movie. It's kind of just extremely tame and lame and kind of boring. So this is a case where, I don't like either one of these movies. I prefer the remake. Yeah, I get, there's something there. Like the original kind of plays as like a pretty standard ghostly tale with like minor spooks with a gimmick attached, which if you don't engage with the gimmick, then there's really nothing to recommend it. This remake at least has some like interesting conceptual stuff running under the surface,
So possibly, so you prefer this. There's another remake that I have not seen yet, but I know exists.
Okay.
Came out in 2002, so just a year after this one.
Yeah, that's quick.
Yeah, very quick. It's called 13 Erotic Ghosts. If I may read you the plot summary real fast.
There's a plot. Now I'm curious, more or less plot than right. I'm buckled in.
I'm genuinely going to try not to giggle my ass off because this is Chad coded like crazy. Paranormal investigators arrive at a burned down girls' school to check if the rumors of ghost appearances are true. With their special goggles, they see that the ghosts are constantly engaging in lesbian sex, which gets everyone horny. It's got a 4 out of 10, baby, on IMDb.
Oh, I was waiting. That was it.
That's it, yeah. No, that's it.
How's the set design?
I
imagine it wasn't the priority in that production.
We're going to say a mixture of Disney made-for-TV show and porn.
Is the porno still in a glass house?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's made in like a gentleman's club, like a lot of like red fabric and stuff.
Yeah, you couldn't stage a production like that in a glass house. It would you'd have throngs of onlookers.
Again, I haven't seen it, so I don't know what it necessarily looks like on film.
Yeah, sure. He hasn't seen it, he says, and we.
Hey,
him.
You know what? I may source this one. It'll be a date night movie. It'll be lovely. Fuck, man. The idea that someone was like, hey, I love what you guys did with this. What if we had a girls' school and lesbian sex that makes everybody horny? But we keep the goggles, because that's how you have to see the ghosts. Do the lesbian sex that makes everybody horny. It's just, damn. I don't know, man.
We didn't like it. Oh.
Yeah, it was fine. It was fine. And by fine, I mean, it's not a good movie. It's not good. But it has... There is something there, and I wish they could have played in that space a little bit more.
Yeah, I can't really think of any reason I would recommend someone watch it. I do think the lawyer getting sliced in half by the door looks good. It's still today in 2024.
Yeah, it still hits.
That was good. Yeah. Other than that, I don't know. I guess if it's on and you got nothing better to do. But I just don't end up feeling any particular way about it.
Yeah.
Strongly in either direction. But some people did. Those people hang out on IMDb.
Yeah, they do. Let's hear what they had to say.
Yeah, I couldn't really find any good ones because like most people don't feel strongly about this movie. So I tried to just get one of each. A negative, a positive, and a middle of the road.
Cool. And then I have a little bit of trivia to close us out today.
All right. 13 reasons why not to watch this film. I just love short and sweet. Just bullet points. You show me bullet points.
Hey, that's what we're here for.
I'll read.
Yeah.
You caught me.
It's like a recipe.
5th of April, 2002, from Logan Pa.
Did you say Logan Paul?
Logan Pa.
Oh, could be the same guy. Could be the same guy.
We'll see if one of the reasons is purchase my energy drink line.
Watch me fight Tyson.
1, cheesy dialogue. 2, very poor directing. 3, I don't want to see the cab driver from Wings in a horror movie. 4.
That's very good.
I pulled this just for number 3.
That's very good.
4, the addition was unimaginative and faulty. 5, twice you can see the movie crew in the picture.
That's true.
6, a very unimaginative concept. 7, the acting was embarrassing. 8, the lighting was very cliche. 9, the ghosts were not scary. 10, the makeup and costumes were hilarious. 11, the soundtrack is just awful. 12, special effects were extremely mediocre. They could have at least relied on that.
Wait, 13, you can't say something is extremely mediocre. That goes against mediocrity itself.
Intense mediocrity on display here.
Yeah.
13, Shannon Elizabeth is in the film. Really, I just liked number 3. And then number 8, I found the lighting so cliche.
Also, like, leave Shannon Elizabeth alone, dude. She's doing her job. Like, damn.
I mean, she does what she was paid to do.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah. She, primps in front of a bathroom mirror for a good 6 minutes. She does the same thing with her hair. Very smiley.
Very smiley character in this movie. She's just having a great time.
Yeah,
her own bathroom.
They all were. They were all just having a blast and a half.
It is a really Faustian sort of bargain here. We got a teenage girl that's so sick of being cramped in this little space with her dad and her little brother and the nanny. Doesn't have her own bathroom. And then, okay, you got your own bathroom, but it's all glass walls.
Yeah.
So just deal with that somehow.
But it's frosted glass, so at least there's that.
Yeah, it's not that frosted. I mean...
It's not frosted enough. There are no frosted windows. Not frosted enough.
8 out of 10. It's not as bad as I thought.
Hey.
Kelly's 62099, 19th of October, 2020.
Holy shit.
Okay. A recent watch. I think the worst part of the movie is the casting choice. The age gap between the daughter and the son is hard to get over. Also, how are they so poor yet they have a nanny, especially when the daughter looks about 20? The horror is mostly bloody and gory images. Overall, I enjoyed it. I always want to focus on a review where they just get hung up on some little trivial
tidbit
like that.
Yeah.
It's like they're not really. No, we got like a son. How old would you say he was? Like 8 or 9, maybe?
I was going to say between 7 and 9. Yeah.
And she's like an older teenager. So
I would say,
like
17 to 19.
10 years at the most? That's nothing crazy here.
Nothing wild. I mean, it's a pretty good sized age gap.
Ghost-powered mechanical houses with like Latin chanting and phrases on the walls and stuff, but you can't just the decade age gap between the siblings. No,
too much.
That's where I draw the line.
Too much.
7 out of 10. One of the coolest movies ever. From DRXTC, 18th of December 2001. Yeah.
That's it.
This is no, I'm like reading through it. Like, why did I pull this out? I think I was just maybe amazed that
somebody said it was the coolest movie ever.
I think I just wanted to highlight like why they enjoyed it. This was one of the coolest movies ever. It wasn't scary. It wasn't suspenseful. It was just cool and totally fun to watch. The special effects were great without looking special. The house totally rocked, and the gore was right on target. After Amadeus, I usually regard anything F. Murray Abraham does as a waste of his infinite talent, but I found 13 Ghosts worthy of even the great one.
Wow.
See this film. It's fun, it's quick, it moves. It's like going to Disneyland in hell without leaving your house. I do like the phrase Disneyland in hell.
Yeah. I mean, this was
that should have been
Haunted Mansion-esque.
You know what? Looking at the movie poster for this movie, it does boast 2 taglines.
I did not see that.
Yeah, the top one at the top of the poster says Misery Loves Company.
I knew that
one. The second
tagline
is Terror Has Multiplied. So we got 2.
I didn't see the trailer has multiplied one. Huh.
Yeah, it's under the title of the movie. Neither of those are really very good. But if you had used the phrase, no, you really can't, Disneyland in hell, but maybe like amusement park in hell, and like had that been the guiding star for your movie, and just like really leaned into that idea, like, yeah, we want a bunch of characters in a hellish amusement park, Disneyland, like wild ass funhouse structure. Man, could have been fun.
Just him saying the effects were not that special. The special effects were not that special is just a very good line.
Oh, wait, I had one other. 10 out of 10, great movie, but by Reba Fan, 48624, August 2002.
The music artist, or her actor career as Reba Hart in the television show Reba.
You have to imagine the center of that Venn diagram is pretty large. Is it just two circles superimposed on one another? Like,
probably.
I don't know. Are you a fan of maybe?
I mean, the TV show is fun, actually. And by fun, I mean, like, in the same way that, you know, Home Improvement as a child was a show your parents watched, and so you watched it too.
No, I just watched it of my own accord.
Okay, cool. So did I. I didn't want to say it, though. We just did a full watch through of Reba, like, not even 6 months ago. It was delightful.
I don't think I could tell you if my life depended on a single song she sings. This movie is so good that the day it came out on DVD, I traveled about 30 miles just to buy it, and I had to go to 4 stores just to find it. But it's worth it. I used to watch it every day, and now I still watch it at least once a week. I just love it. But I found a blooper that just bugs me to death. Somebody explained to me that if the great child and the dire mother are in the same containment cell, why are there 12 levers in the room? If each lever releases one ghost, why would they need 12 levers when they're in the same room to begin with? Blooper. But really, this movie is cool, and what I think makes it cool is because in most horror films, the ghosts are computer animated and added in later. In this movie, they're right on the set with the actors. That makes it interesting. Great special effects and actors. If you want to fully understand the plot of the movie, I suggest watching it a few times. Yeah, maybe like every day.
Or once a week for years.
Also, if you buy the DVD version, watch the 12 Ghost Files. Those are really cool and actually make you empathize with the ghosts.
That is a very good segue, Mr. June. Because I want to take you to a corner where we can talk about some of those ghosts.
Let's settle in.
Here we go. I know stuff. Welcome back to Bo's Trivia Corner. Ghost edition. Ghosts aplenty.
Don't nestle too far back in that corner, because like any place close to a wall in this place is potentially dangerous. You might get
possibly going to crush you, split you in half, or move.
When they're going to move, yeah.
I wanted to start with a couple of small ones before we get into the meat of this trivia corner.
Mm-hmm.
This one felt a little weird. The effect for the torso ghost was achieved using a double amputee wearing a special black hood that could be used to digitally remove his head. I don't know. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All of the writing etched on one of the walls in the glass house actually translates into the Lord's Prayer.
Huh. Okay. Wait. Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's fucking... I don't know. Maybe it's...
Like, they went to the trouble of actually...
I don't know,
man. It could have been
gibberish.
None of us know better. And given this movie, I kind of expected it as such. But no, you went to the trouble of actually write out legible phrases, but it's the Lord's Prayer? It's not like demonic shit?
There's one set designer who was like, you know what, man? I'm going to have to ask for forgiveness for this. So I might as well just put it on the glass. You know? I'm going to etch it. I'm going to etch it here.
When I get up there, and St. Peter's just like looking over my body of work, like this is gonna be standing out there on the page. I'm gonna have to explain this.
Yeah, definitely. Roger Ebert praised the production value of this movie. He said, and I quote, "The production is first rate. The physical look of the picture is splendid. However, he criticized everything else: the story, the lack of interesting characters, loud soundtrack, and poor editing. In 2005, he included on his list of most hated films.
I actually pulled out his review. I just ended up not reading it, but there's one paragraph I really enjoyed. The experience of watching the film is literally painful. It hurts the eyes and ears. Aware that their story was thin, that their characters were constantly retracing the same ground and repeating the same words, that the choppy editing is visually incoherent, maybe the filmmakers thought, if they turned up the volume, the audience might be deceived into thinking that something was happening.
That's very good.
I agree.
There's not much. I got a couple of other little things here.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I found interesting is like the only ghost that actually kills someone is the Juggernaut.
Oh, yeah. By just folding Matthew Lillard in half, right?
Yeah. The lawyer dies because he's scared,
right,
and backs away. Kalina dies because of Cyrus.
Right.
And then technically the machine kills Cyrus when all of the ghosts throw him into it. So like the Juggernaut is actually the only ghost that actually has a body count in this movie.
Yeah, I guess the rest of the ghosts, like, you could replace them with a very people unfriendly cat, and you would get the same result. Like, all they really do is get like slashed a few times. They get scratch marks on like their face and back.
Yeah. Jackal is scratchy.
Yeah,
very scratchy. So Kalina's death, we talked about her getting crushed between two panes of glass. Mm-hmm. Initially, there is an original version that is so much gorier that actually has like shots of her eyes popping out in her brain.
I expected to see that. I didn't expect the cutaway that they do.
Steve Beck, the director, who went on to direct Ghost Ship as well, thought that they may get an NC-17 rating if that were the case.
Really?
Like, genuinely concerned that they would not be able to keep this movie rated as it is.
At that point, you might as well make the shit, I forgot the name already. The lesbian porno version, right? Just lean into it.
Yeah, let's just, let's go crazy. So, meat of the trivia corner. We talked a lot about the ghost. There's not a lot of meat on the bones of this movie, right?
Yeah.
But they actually did do some work. Every ghost that is described in the Black Zodiac actually had a full backstory written for it. You can see this if you watch the DVD. It's part of the DVD extras. I may or may not have done that. But I thought if you wanted to choose a couple of those ghosts, I could give a quick rundown of the actual story that they wrote for that ghost, done by the writers and the director.
I will say there was one I was wondering about watching the movie, so Let's start there. What happened with the kid with the arrow protruding from his head? How'd that happen?
Okay, that was the firstborn son. Mm-hmm. He was the number one ghost on the Black Zodiac.
Yeah.
The ghost that they got for this, like, because all of these ghosts are intended to be archetypes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They are intended to be archetypes to fill the slot of the firstborn ghost or the torso or whatever. Mm-hmm. So the firstborn son they had for this film, he is the ghost of Billy Michaels, a boy who was a fan of cowboy films. One day, a neighbor found a real steel arrow in his parents' closet, and he challenged Billy to a duel with Billy using a toy gun.
Mm-hmm.
I guess, like the whole cowboys and Indians thing. Yeah. However, his plaything was no match for the arrow, and he died when the neighbor shot it through the back of his head. In death, Billy is in his cowboy suit and holding a tomahawk, with the arrow still protruding from his head. His ghost whispers, "I want to play."
So you tell me Billy was yellow-bellied? Because this is what I was wondering about. He got shot through the back of the head.
Back of the head.
He turned tail and ran.
Yep. This town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Wait, if it was a Cowboys and Indians thing, who was the cowboy? Because he's holding a...
He was.
But he was holding a tomahawk.
He was also had a toy gun on his hip. Like, he was wearing his cowboy outfit, but he has a tomahawk.
Right, that's right.
I don't know why.
So maybe... So it wasn't his first rodeo. So maybe he won the last duel, but his hour was...
This time the arrow took him out. Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Who else you want to hear about, if anybody?
What was going on with the mom and the baby? What's their deal?
Okay. This is a bit.
Yeah.
They are ghosts 8 and 9,
Yeah.
the Great Child and the Dire Mother.
Yeah.
They are the ghosts of Margaret and Harold Shelbourne. She was an attraction at a carnival due to her being only 3 feet tall. She was raped by the Tall Man, another carnival freak. Her son Harold, the Great Child, was born as a result of that, and he eventually weighed over 300 pounds. Harold, spoiled, was raised as his mother's protector and kept a childlike mindset to the point that he wore diapers his entire life. One day, some of the carnival employees decided to play a little practical joke on Harold and kidnapped his mom. Enraged, he set out to look for her, but when he caught up with the culprits, he found that his mother had accidentally suffocated to death in the bag that she was kept in. Harold killed the kidnappers with an axe, keeping their remains and displaying them for paying customers.
Jesus.
This whole thing is rough, dude. Later, when the owner of the carnival found what Harold had done, he ordered a mob of people to tear Harold apart. Their ghosts are always together, and Harold still wields the axe and wears a bib stained with food that his mother has spoon-fed him.
Wait, he got torn apart? Everyone else looks like...
So there's an alternate version.
Yeah.
An alternate version on the DVD commentary as well. It was said that their deaths were caused by the Great Child rolling over on the Dire Mother while asleep, thus suffocating her, and then him starving to death because he couldn't feed himself.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, this is like... This movie has fun with itself, but the descriptions here are dark and uncomfortable. Genuinely
That's
uncomfortable.
That's a very different movie. That's wild. There is more story, more events transpire in that backstory of that ghost than in this entire movie. It's like we had ghosts that were meant for another place, and kind of. They got trapped by Cyrus. They're not supposed to be in this house. They don't belong here.
Yeah.
They don't belong in this movie.
Yeah.
That is dark.
What
did you have a favorite one that you want to share?
I liked the Torn Prince, mostly because it's one that just is less dark.
Okay. What do we got?
He's the ghost of Royce Clayton. Born in 1940, he was a gifted baseball star in high school, albeit with an attitude issue and a superiority complex. In 1957, so he was 17, he challenged a greaser named Johnny to a drag race, but was killed as his car spun out of control and flipped over. The cause of the accident was a cut brake line. He was buried in a plot of earth that overlooked the baseball diamond. His ghost carries a baseball bat, and in the background, in his cube, his wrecked car can be seen. Half his body is torn to shreds from when he was dragged under the car.
Jeez.
So, like, it's still dark, but it's not like...
Yeah.
The Great Child and the Dire Mother is like some Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, you know, the child of 10,000 monsters or whatever. The bastard child of 10,000
maniacs, I think it is.
Maniacs or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like they did more work in those stories, more horror work, like uncomfortable. Seeing some of these stories on film would be disturbing and affecting, and it would make me very uncomfortable.
I do like the idea. I do like the idea of, and it would work if the movie were interesting enough to warrant it, engaging with these ghosts and like getting glimpses and like maybe being able to intuit a few things about them based on your experience of them like haunting the characters of the movie, and then having like this additional resource on the DVD or whatever it is to like delve into the backstories. That works if the movie is interesting enough to justify the effort on behalf of the audience, you know?
It could be a 30-second clip. It could be the clip of them using the camera pan to go down the hallway to explain a single one of these ghosts. Royce Clayton would be easy. A shove match with another guy, him like starting his car up, pan down, and you see the cut brake line underneath the car. The car drives, it flips. That's all you would need.
Yeah.
There's so much that can be done there. It just... I don't know, man. It's going from those stories to what you see on film are two entirely different concepts.
Yeah.
To me. One is uncomfortable and disturbing and horrific.
Yeah.
And the other is, hey, let's make a kind of cheesy, crazy amusement park movie with some face-off ghosts.
Yeah, just totally different movies.
And the taxi driver from Wings.
I honestly, I'm reading through the reviews, like, where are all the monk references? I expected that more so than Wings, but...
Or Shaggy Doo. I'm sorry, just Shaggy, not Shaggy Doo. Maybe they got married. I don't know.
Wait, what?
Scooby and Shaggy.
Yeah, but what? Why? Tony Shalhoub?
Matthew Lillard was Shaggy.
Yeah, got it. I was like, I don't know. I never saw that, so I was like, maybe Tony Shalhoub is also in there. Like, did they reunite in this movie?
Or, where's an American Pie reference?
Yeah.
Or, and honestly, no one mentions the fact that Sheila from Army of Darkness is in this movie.
Sorry, just Miss Honey. She crowded her out. Now, see, there's a way to improve the movie. The ghost, not really that scary, but if you put the Trunchbull in here, let her loose.
Oh, man.
I had to escape from... Oh, damn. Jesus Christ. And was it the Chokey? Or the Choke? Or what?
Yeah. I think it was Chokey.
Oh, God. If that's one of the rooms...
It's been a long time since I saw Matilda,
Same.
dude.
That's scarier. That's scarier.
Yeah. This, despite the fact that we're doing this for spooky season, this movie was not scary.
No. It is an amusement park ride.
I will remember and do remember the ghosts from this movie. Especially the hammer, the torn prince, the mother and child. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, I remembered the look and probably could have described them of those ghosts from when I saw this movie as a kid. So there's something memorable about it that affected me.
I'm curious. But I think by the end of the week, I'll be stuck with the same images. Lawyer sliced in half.
Watching that DVD not commentary, but DVD extra about the stories of the Black Zodiac, like, I walked away from it going, "Oh my God. What? What the fuck? I didn't want to hear any of that. Like, I didn't need to know that." This was a silly, campy B horror movie. Like, you could easily watch this for a bad movie night with friends.
Yeah.
Because you could talk during it and probably not miss much.
Yeah. Probably have a better time. There's nothing to talk over anyway. Just like screams and shouts.
Yeah.
So 13 Ghosts. You tried it twice. Didn't hit. Well, I guess apparently 3 times. If you count certain renditions of this story.
Sure.
Come on back. Yeah. It's been long enough. Try it again. This time, maybe you'll get it right. Come back as a video game. But for me, based on the strength of this remake, I would never recommend you really watch it or source it. I did, and I definitely don't recommend you do that. Because all told, that's like a few hours of your life that really wouldn't be well spent investigating these 2 movies.
I agree. Don't source it. Instead, watch the Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah, I would.
They're fun. They're good.
I should probably see those. I think I saw some.
They're
of the
a
first
really
one.
good time.
Yeah.
It's Rowan Atkinson's in it. It's delightful.
Go do that. Go watch Wings. I've never seen Wings.
Go watch Wings.
Let's try that.
Go
Let's
watch
Wings.
Go watch Hackers.
Sure. Yes.
SLC Punk.
SLC Punk. Good movie. Yep.
A lot of things you could spend your time on and not this
movie.
Go
to Training Day.
Hey, you know what?
Training Day. It was an Oscar winner, right? It
was
a great movie.
Or watch 13 Erotic Ghosts.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Not in your glass house, though.
Maybe that's a good one.
Don't watch that in your glass house. You might.
Man, it would really suck if that was the only good version of this story.
I'm kind of curious.
Was 13 fucking erotic ghosts.
All right. But yeah, that's 13 Ghosts. And we have now officially kicked off spooky season. And we're doing ghosts.
Ghost month.
Ghost month.
Yes.
So more ghosts on the way. So coming up, we've got
more ghosts on the way.
We got Sweet Home.
We've got
I'm very excited about that.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
Precursor to Resident Evil. Sort of an early, I don't know. It's got elements of like horror within it, like a survival horror almost that they kind of pulled from in later games. It's not a survival horror game, but it's interesting to see some threads. Similarly, when I went through the Alone in the Dark games, you can sort of see later games DNA like originating here.
Are you going to be playing that one on Twitch?
I am. So come on by twitch.tv/LeJunebug
Cool. Love
for
to hear that.
the upcoming Twitch streams.
And we're probably going to do something really interesting for Halloween this year.
Yeah.
I know last year we did our Freddy versus Jason, our episode that dropped. This year we're hoping to do something else kind of special, so we'll keep you posted. And for our Patreon this month, you got to get in on it. We are doing a patron-specific Phobia-Goria grab bag.
Campfire Tales.
What scary stories? Campfire tales, urban legends, things that just freaked them out as younger. Or, I mean, hell, as an adult even. Bring it on. Besides that, drop us a line at sourcenotfoundpod@gmail.com. You can find us on all the social medias at Source Not Found Podcast. Check out our Patreon at Source Not Found Podcast as well. We've got a Discord. And I mean, honestly, Brandon, that's all I got to say, man. Except for make sure you check your toilets for at least 12 ghosts, possibly 13.
Make sure you're wearing your Illusion O device to properly witness all of the spooks that might be haunting, said Van.
Spectrovision! Or Spectre Vision. They should have called it Spectre Vision.
Missed opportunity.
Fucking Castle.
Just this podcast alone, we've written a better movie.
You hear that, Castle? Roll. I don't know if he's dead. I was going to say rolling over in his grave, but I'm not
he's
certain.
The 14th ghost.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Illusion O!